Welcome everyone to 209 Journey podcast. I'm your host Luis, and in today's episode, we have the owner and founder of Flight Nutrition, a business that is in Modesto, California, real actually close by to where I went to high school, which is really awesome to know that there's more businesses happening around there, and that it's also in one of our more historic streets in Modesto, which is McHenry. So, really excited to be talking to Danny here on the podcast. But before we get started with this podcast, I do want to remind everyone, if you haven't followed our socials yet, go give us a follow. You can find us at the 209 Journey on Facebook and Instagram. Check out our website, the209journey.com, and subscribe to the show if you are on YouTube now, or hop on YouTube if you're listening now. So you can also subscribe there and watch the episode as well. I do recommend you watch it as well if you listen to it on the podcast, because you're able to see some of the visuals that we share on here. And for today's episode, we're going to be sharing the drink menu for Flight Nutrition. So you'll definitely want to see it. It's actually really well designed, and you could see all the different options there. But of course, we'll also be talking about it here on the podcast. But without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Danny Avila to the podcast. How's it going, Danny?
How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for hopping on. It's really great to be able to talk to you, talk about the business that you've had for a few years now. It's really amazing to see that you've had a business, especially going through the difficult years that we had and all that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on here on the podcast. But yeah, no, I'm really glad that we have more local businesses that have options like yours, because everyone wants to drink healthier drinks nowadays, right? And it's good to have those places that we can go to and not always rely on the big chains to come up with something that's supposed to be healthy, right?
Yeah.
Well, before we talk about Play Nutrition, I want to get started knowing more about how you made it out to 209. I know you were telling me that you were born in the Bay Area, so just tell us more about how you got to Modesto.
Yeah, so we moved over here in 2008, during the whole housing crisis, everything. My parents moved over here. We got introduced to these, amazing products. I mean, a lot of people want to learn how to lose weight. Some people think that, oh, by starving themselves or, there's a lot of gimmicks to everything. Everything has a gimmick now. So, except eating clean. So what we did, we got introduced to these, nutrition products, and that's how it really started. I've always been about, I've been an athlete pretty much my whole life, and I've realized, nutrition, it's always going to be 20% fitness and 80% nutrition.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's really a big factor, right? And a lot of people might think, oh, it's you could do 50-50, but yeah, I mean, what you actually eat, what you consume makes a big difference, right? And how you can actually be healthy. And it's not that easy always, right? To eat the good stuff.
Oh yeah. So pretty much like I started this place up when, I mean, it's been since 5 years. I've been open for 5 years now, since September
Mhm.
2019. I graduated in August. No, sorry, May 2017. So it took me 2 years
Mhm.
after high school here. I graduated from Grace Davis High School here in Modesto.
Oh, my school. Yeah, nice.
Yes,
Yeah, the best high school in Modesto. There you go.
of course. And starting up, it wasn't easy because I wanted to go to college, and I did for a little bit, but I didn't know for what. At a young age, it's always confusing to figure out what you want to do. I knew I wanted to be a business owner at some point. So whether I went to college, finished up, I knew I wanted something in nutrition or fitness. So it would have been kinesiology for sure, and sports nutrition, and that's what I've always been passionate about. So I've rolled with it. I worked for 2 years at the mall here at Vintage Fair Mall. Caused me to save up enough. I didn't have any credit. My parents weren't able to help me out financially as much as they would like, due to some personal issues. I don't want to go off topic there, but yeah, we we had a little financial situation in 2017, and my mom had one of these originally as well in 2017, and I knew I wanted something for myself, so I came in. I opened up here in 2019, and yeah, I've been here since. So it's been I've been pretty blessed and pretty fortunate as well.
So I got to ask because you mentioned Davis, that location where it's at. Did you choose it because it was close to Davis, or it just happened to be the one that you chose?
It's funny you asked that because I was actually when I was training and I was like looking for a location, I already had a pen and paper in hand to go sign a lease farther down McHenry, closer to downtown, closer to the car dealerships. The thing is, it's just something in my gut just said, "Don't do it." Like you're gonna find something better. The lease wasn't the best. I personally didn't know how to negotiate. I had a lot of help, but especially who's gonna give the a lease, to someone my age at that time. I
Mhm.
noticed a lot of business owners. You're gonna need a co-signer unless when you're under 21. So I had the paper and I just didn't go through with it. I ended up that same day I ended up driving down the street, um, going on a drive, trying to I was a little upset that I didn't sign it, but I turned to the left and I saw this exact location. Did a U-turn, came in here, scouted the spot, and it was perfect. I realized like this is the spot. Like this is where I want to be. It's down the street from my old high school, and yeah, I got long story short, we got it.
Wow. No, things happen for a reason, right?
Of
You're
course.
supposed to find one that was closer to the high school and you're really familiar with the area, so it's better to have a business, right? Wherever you're most familiar with. And I feel like it's even better than being out there, maybe being next to the dealership since I think there's more activity around that area and there's a need, I think, for more businesses like yours in that area. Because I know we have Hobby Lobby there, we have a few banks, but and I think there might even be like a gym, right, or something that's around your business. So it's nice that there could be an actual like a healthy beverage spot right there.
Yeah, there's a few gyms out here and been more growing since I've been here. So it's good to see. Yeah, but then the whole pandemic happened. You know how that went. I
Oh
was
yeah.
what still 19 at the time. I didn't know the whole rules. All I know is MPD was shutting businesses down or fining them. Not everyone, of course. Some people. But due to the fact that we're in the food category, we're blessed and we were able to stay open. And I was doing a lot more deliveries at the time. Luckily, like I had a lot of people, that had my back. Still fresh business, new business. I'm popping. I had yeah, a lot of people ordering deliveries. I was probably at the gas station 3 to 4 times a week, which is good. I was
Wow.
doing deliveries to Turlock, so people that weren't even
Oh
able to
well.
make it out at the time, I was just going all the way to Turlock, kept them in the cold container. And yeah, that kept us afloat. Helped us out a lot.
Oh yeah. No, that was really challenging. I mean, every time I know a business owner that had a business around that time, I'm like just big props to you, making it through because I mean, you hear the stories of other ones that weren't as lucky and it was a little more challenging because they weren't equipped to handle that, right? So I'm glad that you were able to adapt and do deliveries and that you had people all the way in Sherlock like wanting to buy drinks because I feel like people still worked out, right? I mean, maybe not at a gym necessarily most of the time, but I mean, I'm sure people were still outdoors because you wanted to go for a run and
Yeah,
away from others, but people were still working out. You wouldn't stop, right?
of course, of course. Yeah, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but also when we were building this place out, yeah, the reason, also another reason, the build out took a little bit longer than anticipated is we had a misfortune in January 2019. Our house caught on
Mhm.
fire. My
Oh,
household, yeah. So we were, that took a lot of my like mental health, everything. I do
yeah.
believe business. A lot of business owners struggle with mental health just because
Mhm.
you're everything. You're the accountant.
Mhm.
You're the manager. You're the owner. You're the CEO. You're everything. So
Mhm.
luckily for me, I was doing a lot of personal development. I had a lot of help, from family, friends, always checking in, especially with the build out. I had to have, I had a few connections, but I had, one of my good buddies, Jose. He's the one that helped me with everything. So luckily, like I said, I had him in my corner. And at the time that we opened back up, when we finally did our grand opening, I think 2 weeks before is when we finally went back into my old house, rebuilt, because my parents were dealing with that while I was dealing with this over here. So, you know, I'm very appreciative, but like I said, everything happens for a reason. It's new beginnings. It's more of a fresh start. So, everything was looking good from there. And then the whole pandemic happened. So it was a whole nother challenge.
Yeah.
But, I welcome those challenges now because it's like it formed me and shaped me into who I am today.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, when you go through like big challenges like that, I mean, when you come out on the other side and keep on going, you know that it doesn't matter what happens. You already went through those difficult challenges, right? So you're ready to
Yeah,
confront them again. If like something else pops up, you're already ready because you have that experience, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just a little challenging when it happens initially, but I think that's even more amazing when you just start your business. You're being put these challenges in front of you, but you're still able to like persevere and keep going, right? So
of course, of course.
that's good. Well, I gotta ask because when I saw the name Flight Nutrition, when I see flight, I mean, everyone automatically might think, oh, airplanes or like, whatever, like helicopters, right? Um, what's the story behind the name? Are you a fan of planes or what was that?
It's funny you say that. So when I was thinking of the name, I didn't know what to name it. I've always been like, I want something for myself. I don't want to. I don't like to copy people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm,
It's just for me. Like, I want to have something for me. Like, I want some people to look at flight and be like, it's for me. The reason I came
mm,
up with that, and in my 19-year-old, 18-year-old brain at the time, I used to work at a sneaker store in the mall, and I'm like, what can I like put with nutrition? And I love shoes at the time. I was a big sneakerhead. Originally, the design for the shop was supposed to have a bunch of LED sneakers on the wall, pictures. Some of the names of the drinks were going to be based off of sneakers. Like, I have a very popular drink called the Space Jam. Just
well,
and that's been on the menu since. But the reason I picked that name was I was online, I was scrolling on social media, and I remember I came across a store called Flight Club, and that's based out in LA. I'm like, ooh, what if I just put flight and then nutrition together? I
mm,
like shoes, and Flight Club being a sneaker reselling store,
mm.
I thought that was cool at the time. There's sometimes I'm like, I could have put a little bit more thought, but I don't have no regrets. I'm going to roll with what 19, 18-year-old me said, and we've been going with that. I've also had ideas to rebrand and stuff, but this name has so much sentimental value, especially being open for 5 years, because a lot of people, a lot of businesses, the lifespan isn't.
Mm,
This isn't. It's not always this long. Sadly, especially with inflation. With There's a whole
mhm.
lot of stuff that go into play. So, but yeah, I've it just has so much meaning to me now that I'm glad that I picked it. I have no regrets. I can always play around with the logo, and a lot of people love it. A lot of people do think we're like, oh, do you like playing stuff or
Uh,
what's the story behind that? But I'm like, nah. I mean, it just went completely over their heads. But I mean, I understand because shoes weren't. That was more of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's even better. I mean, when you can have a business name that you actually have that sentimental value towards, it's better than maybe a catchy one, right? One that actually has a story to tell. So I think that's great. And plus, you can also like take it metaphorically, right? Like, everyone's trying to take a flight in their like health journey of sorts, and
Of
so
course.
it's you could take it in other ways too. So I think it's a good name. It works out for the business.
Yeah, everyone could say, let's go to flight or let's go to FN. A lot of people say, like it's catchy. Some people don't like it. Some people do. It's at the end of the day, it's what I chose. I'm gonna have to go with it.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, when you mentioned sneakers and with flight, I thought you were gonna go in the direction of like Michael Jordan and the Jordans, and he was basically flying when he was trying to like get towards the hoop. So I thought that's the direction it was going initially. I was like, is it Nike Air, all that stuff? Like,
Well, it's funny you say that because I do have a lot of athletes on my walls. Sorry, I do
oh
have a few
okay.
athletes on the walls. I wanted it to be like a sports bar, and it's funny that you mentioned Michael Jordan because I do have Michael Jordan on my wall, and I did put
Oh
a motivational quote as well, and then I did put another. I put Ronaldo on another one of my
oh
popular
okay.
favorite athletes as well. So created these. I kind of wanted it more like a sports bar, like I said, and I just have a lot of gimmicks, So I figured, it's nice, that I was able to do that in my own personal business.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect picture for Michael Jordan. He looks like he's flying with that one. And then I'm a big Cristiano Ronaldo fan myself, and recently he scored a goal where it looked like he was flying. You probably saw it just a few weeks ago, and it was insane. It looked like he was flying literally. So
Oh yeah.
so if anyone hasn't seen that, people need to just go and check that out. It wasn't edit at all. Like, I mean, he was up in the air for at least like 3 4 seconds. It was something crazy. um,
Hmm.
but yeah, no, it's cool that you have like all that there. I know that you also have like an area with couches, right? You're probably like looking at it in
Hmm.
front of you right now. You
Yeah.
want to share that as well? Actually, now that we're just like talking about it, I know you
Yeah.
were telling me.
Take too much, but yeah, I do have a seating area. I have my seating area that I have over here that I'm using to record. I do have a little lounge as well over there, a few tables. I did get rid of a few of my high tables as well, and then I added it more for comfort at this point. I want people to lounge and hang out here. And then I have normally these are on my menus, but I did turn them off so people can come in, you know, come in and then pretty much look at what our drinks. The middle TV is a slideshow of all of our drinks, and yeah, they would just see the pictures and hang out while they wait if they like. And I do have a long bar as well where people, if like a lot of my I've made a lot of good friends here where we just have these good conversations right here. Especially people that I just met. Just the conversations that we have are always good here. And then these chairs are very loungy. They're comfortable. And I just recently renovated as of last year. Last year.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, all the furniture looks really comfy. Looks like, if anyone wants to hang out with friends, it's a really good spot to be at for quite some time because it's so comfy and it's better than maybe other like chains that don't have as comfy, which they should, right, with the money they make, but they don't have that. So I'm glad that you have that there, and you also have a bar side, right, for anyone who just goes there on their own and just wants to get a drink and have a conversation like the ones that you mentioned. So I think it's great. It's a great spot for the community to hang out at. Well, we talked about the drinks real briefly. You mentioned the Space Jam ones. So for the people actually watching, and also for the ones that are listening, we'll like describe them as well. I'll add the picture here of the menu so we can actually go over what you have there in the menu itself. So let me add that here on the screen. There you go. All right, so we have a lot of things going on here. So you want to like describe to us like the drinks that we're seeing here on the screen?
Yeah, of course. So we have a variety of drinks. The menu that you specifically posted, that one has it's all energy and green tea base. So we our basic teas, those have they're only 5 calories, and they 5 calories, sugar free, and so people that like just green or black tea, it's a really good way to get your caffeine instead, and it's caffeine without the crash, of course. Um, this time of year, the winter time, a lot of people like to get something warm, so we always point them towards in the direction of the basic teas.
Okay.
The premium refreshers are also made with green tea. Everything has a different benefit though. So I've realized some people don't like shakes all the time, or they want to
Yeah.
just get it in their protein or other benefits quick. So we do have refreshers that help with extra boost. Some contain, collagen, vitamin C, our fat reducer, hunger suppressant, and some that just help with plain digestion. Like if you have digestion problems, which we don't often talk about, it's not common. Yeah, you could just grab one of those drinks, and usually whoever we have working behind the bar, or me myself, I usually point them in the direction of something that they're looking for, or I'll customize them something to their liking. We also have other additional boosters and enhancers, such as electrolytes, vitamin C, probiotic that you can add to your drink to enhance the drink or add some more benefits to what you're looking for. We recently just added this athlete section, which a lot of people didn't even know we have pre-workout, BCAs, and like I said, electrolytes. And those are all those drinks that I have on the premium side are all crafted recipes that I've either gotten passed down or I've created them myself. So
Okay.
it's just a quick way, to grab like a refresher, very low sugar, 15 to 20 calories on that side. And like I said, those are pretty popular in the summer. We do have a secret menu, summer menu, holiday menu that we will be bringing out little by little. And as well as last but not least, we do have the to-go shots. Some people just want to shoot it down, no matter what the flavor is, if it's good or bad. I will say the energy shot, the immunity shot, and the donut shot are all very delicious. I don't think I would put something on my menu that I myself wouldn't like,
Oh,
because again, like I'm the one that creates it. It's my name, it's my menu, my place, my restaurant. So yeah, I always have to make sure you're getting the everything. That the taste is everything. If not, you're not gonna. If it's good, like if it's like a ginger shot or something, like okay, I understand that's more for just the benefit. But when it comes to like the refreshers, like the taste, it has to be sweet or not as sweet. But yeah, that's basically the this what this menu is. Specifically more for caffeine or just a quick way to intake all those vitamins and minerals.
oh yeah. No, I'm glad that you have different options for like whatever people want to go with, right? Whether you're okay with more caffeine, maybe you want less caffeine, maybe like you're trying to work out and you want a drink that is specifically for that. Now, the drink you were mentioning earlier, the donut drink, I know that's one of the ones that I saw on your Instagram page that looked really good. And I also noticed that you actually also put a donut on it, right? And I guess it's a protein donut, if I'm correct.
On that donut shot,
Yeah, I saw a donut, like, on top of the drink on Instagram.
that's an actual protein donut. I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, our donut shot, the way I like to say it is, it's pretty popular. It's actually more popular than all of our other shots. Our donut shots are fat reducer, but we make it taste like like an actual donut. You could put it into your coffee, and it's like a creamer. But I like to make them in
Okay.
little shots because I like to pour up, creative, shots and make them look aesthetically pleasing. So the donut shot, it's our fat reducer. I've been making them warm, and that's what makes us, more known for it because it tastes like a warm donut. Like
Oh,
it's just the taste. It has caramel, vanilla, cinnamon, and the mix. And what it does is it suppresses your appetite. So if as long as you're drinking water throughout the day, it helps burn the visceral fat that's found in the center midsection of your stomach. You could pair that up with your shake, or on the side, or even throw it into your shake. But I like to like make them fresh so people can actually take it and sip on it, shoot it down, whatever they like. As like I said, some people just I have a lot of people that not only that just go to the gym, but work in dental offices, doctors' offices. They're nurses. They're on their feet all day. They work
mhm,
at the cosmetology school across the street. So
mhm.
it's not just this place isn't necessarily just for people that work out. Sometimes they just need another way to get protein in, or I would say healthier fast food, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Just because we need there needs to be healthier alternatives here in the 209, and I feel like what I provide is definitely here, and I try to provide the best. I try to make the best recipes, um, and keep great taste. Of course, I feel like healthy needs to taste good in order for everyone to come in. Not just athletes, because athletes will just take it. They'll if it's good for you, they'll take it. But like I myself and my younger brothers, they wouldn't take it if it wasn't delicious.
Oh, yeah. No, that is a big thing. I mean, I remember, at some point eating, like, protein, like, bars or, like, even protein shakes that didn't really have that much good of a taste. You're just kinda drinking them because 'cause you're like, "Well, they're healthy, so I guess
Yeah.
it's what I'll drink." So I'm glad that, like, you guys incorporate these recipes that make it seem like, "Oh, it's, this donut that I would've any day eaten," right? Especially for the people, like you mentioned, that are busy professionals that might not have that much time to even like go and order something, or they just want to stay healthy without having to go to anywhere else, right? And get something else because they want to stay healthy. They might go to the gym afterwards, so they want to be ready for when they go to the gym after work. So it's good to have that drink beforehand.
Yep. Yep.
Well, you mentioned Space Jam as being like a popular drink, so what exactly is in the Space Jam?
So the Space Jam, the one when I created that
Mhm.
recipe, it was based off this one shoe that Michael Jordan wore, or he didn't wear it, but it's part of his brand. It's a
Okay.
purple and blue based shoe. It's also more black than purple, but when I think of space, I also think of purple being out there. So
Okay.
what the way we create it, we use our green tea. we mix our pomegranate with it, and we throw grape and blue raspberry in it. And to me, when you mix all of that together, it tastes like Kool-Aid. It's sweet.
Oh,
So that's why a lot of people, especially between like younger athletes, like we have our local athletes here at Davis and Bayer High School as well. Can't forget about them. During their lunch breaks, or if they're when their parents come in, with them, I always point them in that direction just because it's sweeter, and kids these days, they love more sweet than anything. So
yeah.
yeah, we use a lot of we use our sugar-free sweeteners, or very low sugar, of course, to give it that taste. But at the end of the day, it gives them that energy boost that they need to push throughout the day. Like those classes, especially now that school got even longer. With they don't have they used to be shorter now, but now they're
Yeah.
longer. They always need that little extra push, especially if they have practice right after. So I always point them in that direction, even though they say it's not always good for younger kids to have energy drinks. But like I said, these, since they're very low sugar, and a lot of times when they need it, it's always a good replacement or substitution.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's always better to go the healthier way than get one that might be a little more like stronger, right? Might have more caffeine or other ingredients that won't help them, right? In whatever sport they play. So that's good. Um, well, moving back to when you first opened back in 2019, I want to know a little bit more about what that feeling was like when you had your opening day. Just tell me more about like what you did on that day.
So it's crazy because to get permits here in Modesto, um, it's a lot of steps. Like
Mm,
especially depending on what you serve. Like everyone has their own thing. I only had a certain amount of capital ready to. I was what 18, 19 at the time. I only had a certain amount of capital that I saved up, um, in order for me to have this place. So we had to do a lot of the manual work ourselves. I had to go maybe easier on the furniture at the time, but
mm,
to me, like I hit gold. Like I would go on Amazon, I'd go to IKEA.
oh,
Like that was my humble beginnings.
oh,
And it's funny because like when I was at the mall, I was working two jobs at the time. I was probably going in around 10 a.m., 9 a.m., and then leaving around 11 p.m. because I would go to back to my jobs.
oh,
And during my lunch breaks, like I didn't really want to like spend money just because I had the idea. Like I knew I wanted a business, but I wanted to save as much money as I can. Like I didn't want to spend $10 on a meal and then it would backtrack me.
oh,
So I ran a Spartan race, which is an obstacle course race here in Sacramento, and I volunteered for it, so I didn't have to pay. At the time, it was more of
oh,
a trade, an honorable trade.
okay.
And at the end of the race, after we picked up everything, they were giving out a bunch of protein bars. So I'm like, sweet, I'll take all of them. And I had like hundreds and hundreds of bars. And I remember like I would go to work and I would carry two protein bars and a gallon of water. That way I
Oh,
didn't have to go eat. So that was what I used to save my income for this place. Cause yeah, I did, like I said, I did have some help financially, but that was at the end of the day, it was mostly me when it came down to saving up, for this.
mm,
But yeah, I was pretty much doing that every single day for probably 6 days out of the week. Every now and then I would
mm,
treat myself, of course. But to this day, I cannot. I'm not gonna say the brand name, but I
oh,
did get tired of those protein bars, and I probably will never have another one again. But it kept me, motivated, more motivated. The fact that when I got this, but as I was building out this place, as we were putting in the flooring, as we were redecorating the bar, putting up decorations and what all that, I did notice that my money was going, down, but it was a leap of faith that I decided like I need to do it. If not,
mm,
it's not. If not now, never. And I remember I had a lot of people, supporting me. We were going through the permits and the rent. The rent's not gonna wait, so I wanted to open up
mm,
as fast as possible. So I remember like I got and then I put in an order for flyers. Like I wanted to go out, door to door out there in the streets, hand out, coupons to people. And I
mm,
didn't really have much like time because the week that I was ready to open, I pushed back my opening week because I feel like I needed to do a little bit more advertising.
mm,
So me and my brother, we passed out like flyers from 8 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. at night. We were on our feet all day for 5, 6 days out of the week while we were prepping up for this place. And I remember I'm like, I have social media. Why don't I ask every single person on my following list
mm,
Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, if they can post my flyer, I feel like that would spread the word a lot. And luckily for me, like I had a lot of people behind me, supporting me through that process. And even people, I didn't even bother to reach out to some people guys. I wasn't that close to them, or I just don't remember. I just felt like they wouldn't. And I remember they would go on other people's social media, screenshot it, and post it on their page. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like I didn't expect that. So I still remember, like I would go on everyone's stories, and it would just be pictures of my flyer, and I'm like, wow, like
Oh
this
wow.
is actually so cool. Like I feel so special, so loved, and I'm like, well, now, like now that I know that they have my back, like I feel more confident than ever. So yeah, opening day, I remember I already had people lined up out the door. Like it was 6 a.m. I was opening up at 6 a.m. at the time. I had like 20 to 23 people waiting outside, and they were all people that I had played sports with. So I'm like, because they would all go to work and commute to the Bay Area, and I'm like, wow, like even on my opening day, you guys made it out here. That means a lot. And then little as I go, I had my brother helping me out, my other friend helping me out, and with us three, like we handled the rush. I remember it was more of a soft opening.
No.
We had all the blenders running. I didn't know, like that's when I realized, like the the power can go out because I have so much stuff going on. So I was like a little scared, frustrated. I'm like, wow, like I have a whole line of people and I can't make these drinks. Luckily, I finally got the hang of it, where the power doesn't go out, the breaker doesn't, pop. So yeah, and then once I got the hang of it, throughout that whole day, at the end of the day, I realized I did my numbers, and I realized I had like 70 people on my opening day, and
Wow.
I did an opening weekend. So I was giving out a few drinks, few samples of some stuff, and then on Sunday it was most of my family all came. Everyone was posting me, sharing it, and like I said, ever since then it was doing really great. During the holiday season, it was amazing. It was such a good feeling knowing that I had the whole community behind me, like supporting. Um, and yeah, like I get like chills just thinking about it.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. The power of social media, I always say, right? We're in a great time nowadays where if you want to like spread a message of, hey, we're opening like your business or there's this event going on, you don't have to spend too much on advertising, right? Because as long as you have people who support you, who, like you said, will like share on their stories, it goes a long ways, right? Like it's just one leads to another, and then by the time you're getting like 1,000 people that you don't even know who they are, but they're mutuals of mutuals that just one way or another found out about it and are sharing, because we have a lot of people, not just in Modesto, right, but throughout the 209, that like sharing each other's like stuff that they have going on. And so it's really good, once you have that community around you, and they'll share everything you have because they know you're great, and they'll support you any day. So that's awesome that you had that many on opening week.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you have some like drinks that you only do in the holidays. So like in that like winter that you were really busy. Like what are some of the special drinks that like people should look forward to at the end of the year?
So I have a really popular drink, and I know, and a lot of people don't know this, but they can do their shakes warm or very hot. So of course, that a hot protein shake, that doesn't sound that appetizing. I always tell everyone, don't knock it till you try it. Like
Mhm.
I'm so confident behind it that, especially for some of my people that come in, like if you don't like it, and I recommended it, like if it's something like I have a popular shake, hot warm shake called it's just hot chocolate. It's our chocolate protein shake. We throw a little bit of marshmallows in there, sugar-free chocolate drizzle, a little bit of graham cracker, and a little bit of Oreo crumbs on top. And I say, if you don't like it, like I will, it's on me. Like don't I stand behind it. Like I just want people to try our warm drink menu. We also have a pumpkin spice one. You could do that one cold or hot, but I'm weird in the wintertime. Like I like ice cream, a lot better than I do in the summertime, because it doesn't melt as fast. And some people are the same way with our shakes. Like they prefer cold, which is fine. But I like to, expand their palate. Here's this. So I had over 40 shakes, and I realized, like that's cool. Like I have all these shakes, but it overwhelms a lot of people. So I had to bring them down. Like I took out half of it, maybe even more, and now I have like about 20 to 15 that are crafted, like, that are specialty shakes now. And the way they look, they look so appetizing. They don't look like protein shakes. They look more like smoothies just because of the toppings that we add, the sugar-free drizzles. One of our most popular ones here is our Chunky Monkey shake, our Snickers shake as well, and then our Oreo shake. Top three, actually, if anything. We also have a Chubby Hubby shake, which is peanut butter, butterscotch, Oreo, and chocolate chips. And we only add a little bit of the chocolate chips and the peanut butter. We add everything, in a good amount, a good portion, because we want everything to stay under 260 calories,
Oh,
and or 260, 250. And we have two different types of proteins. So now that I brought down the menu, yeah, like a wintertime one was a hot chocolate one. A summertime one that we're gonna be bringing back is gonna be the mango pineapple, piña colada, and that's what I realized. I feel like a lot of people look forward to the holiday drinks rather than if I
yeah.
keep them on the menu all year round. So that's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's a lot special, of course, right? With the I mean, just like with the Starbucks, right, and their special drinks, and other places that also have those. I think it's just one of those things where the season rolls around, and it just makes you feel more in the season, right? When you're like drinking these special drinks, and I mean, you see them everywhere. So I think people are like, oh, I want to, like drink more cinnamon or something in like the winter time, and get more of that gingerbread flavors, and you're set. But yeah, no, that's cool that you also do hot drinks because I mean, as a runner myself, and especially right now when it's really cold, I think it's interesting to be able to drink something that's hot because you've been out and it's really cold. And I think it hits you well, especially if you're, working out outside, especially around this time when it gets really cold.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that you were a runner because I'm a runner myself. I've like I said, I like to be part of the community events and stuff, and I've ran the Modesto Marathon 10 years in a row, the full.
Oh, wow.
I used to be part of this program with my local high school called Teens Run Modesto, and so the coaches and even like my old track coach, my old football coach, they send me a bunch of their athletes over here too, just because I was
Oh,
part of that. So like I said, having that community behind your back, it's very, very nice. I recently tore my rotator cuff and I had surgery on it like 2 3 weeks ago, and even though like, and then I just ran a half marathon out in San Francisco, and the coaches
oh,
at the end, and having the people come in here, like seeing that I have a medal, that I ran it and have my medal hung on the wall, they're that's a conversation starter for a lot of people. They're always asking me, how do I start, how do I do this, and it's nice because, like I said, I greet everyone in here like if they're like if I've known them for like forever, and I feel like that brings that homey atmosphere around here. So it's like I said, it's nice to have that community behind my back. Even though I have this, it's another trial and tribulation that I have as a business owner because I still have to be here and work. But the all my customers, like, I haven't like had a complaint. In fact, like, they're like, oh, you'll get better soon. They're more supportive over it. So it's nice.
yeah. No, that's quite the story to run a half marathon and to do the Modesto Marathon. So that's the full marathon for 10 years,
The
like
full
every single you did the full. Wow. That's,
since
well, yeah.
I started it when I was in eighth grade, and I finished it a little after I graduated high school. But every single year with shin splints, growth spur, like, I've seen it all. So it's nice being a runner, being able to lift. Like, I would consider myself a hybrid athlete, ex athlete. Played football, like I said, soccer, track, and like I said, I'm a people person. So it's all about making friends. I make friends with everyone.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think as a business owner, that's how you definitely want to be, and especially when you have a business like yours, it's always great when it could be an athlete, right? That's like formulating the drinks, that knows exactly the type of nutrition that you need because you're getting a lot of athletes, or even people who are just like into the gym, that are coming by. You know exactly like what to recommend, what works for you. So that's perfect. It's great that you could test them out yourself, and you've grown up with them, so it works out. Well, I want to know in terms of the future. You've been around for 5 years, so where do you see the business going in 5 to 10 years? Like, what are some of your goals with flight nutrition?
So I've always believed, like, the goal is for me to, eventually take a step back, have some more employees here. I did notice that, I need to have someone as ambitious as myself, to maybe not franchise it, but open up a secondary location. With the same energy, same vibe that I bring to this location.
Mm,
I do want to open up maybe another one in Modesto, and maybe another one in another city. So
mm,
that's the future. As of right now, I did want to open up a private, training facility right next to mine, so that way I have,
mm.
the best of both worlds, nutrition and the fitness, in the same shopping center,
Wow.
and me being in charge of it. But I realized, it's hard to manage both. I'm only one person. And I could have partners, but not everyone has the same ideology. I've always believed, like, if you're gonna do something, you're gonna go all in. You can't have one foot
Mm,
in, one foot out. And so, like I said last year, when I was planning on doing it for that expansion, I wanted it didn't follow through. It fall through and it didn't work out. So that's when I went with renovating in here and grabbing some new lounge chairs, new tables, moving things around so it looks different. It's a whole different. It's Flight Nutrition V2. I
mm,
also am working, and almost I'm like 80% there. I'm wanting to bring in breakfast sandwiches in here, so that way, since
mm,
we're a lounge cafe, um, we have actual food, not only protein shakes, but for people that don't like shakes or kids, we have protein based shakes. We do have snacks. We do have protein donuts, which are very famous around this
mm.
area. We do have protein bites, protein pizza bites, which is interesting. People
Oh,
use
okay.
like turkey as well, and like I said, the sandwiches are coming in, and we do have very delicious protein waffles. So our waffles, you wouldn't even
Mm.
know they had protein, or you wouldn't know, like, you would think I'm lying when it says like
Oh,
healthy. So um, it's nice that I have all these additional food items, and I've been adding them over the years. I still remember the first day, like, I brought in waffles. It was a mess, but I realized, like, I can't be afraid of it. Like, I remember, like, the night before I brought in the protein waffles, my as I was cleaning the waffle maker, my waffle maker broke, and it was around 8 to 9 p.m. And I just made the announcement
oh,
to that I'm gonna have them the next day. So I already had a few confirmed, people RSVP'd and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, like I just announced it, and I don't even have a waffle maker anymore. So I rushed to Target, got a decent one. It was a mess. Let me just tell you, like, I was so, like, I didn't have a set recipe. I had to make the waffle mix from scratch, every single
oh,
waffle. Now I have everything batched up, um, and a proper recipe, for a bunch of them. But I remember I was making the waffle mix, making the shake. Like, I was stretched out all over the place. So I'm like, okay, that's a mess. And as soon as, like, that day ended, I didn't bring them back for a while. So it took me
oh,
to a little bit back to bring them back. But like I said, like, I'm not gonna put something on my menu until I know it's good.
mm.
And I have it down. And every time I make it, it's gonna come out adequate. So now it's good that I have everything, perfected. I won't bring in the breakfast sandwiches until I know the macros, until my oven that I have makes them perfectly every time, so that even my employees or whoever I have working behind my bar um, can't mess it up and don't feel as frustrated as I did when
Mm.
I was testing out the waffles. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough, like, since we make everything, for the most part from scratch,
Mm.
especially our donuts and stuff. Like, it's tough because you can't just go on Google and grab it. We're not a
Mm.
franchise, so everything has to be done here. I've thrown out probably hundreds of dollars of inventory just to get one recipe down. So
Mm.
and and that's just for everything. Not necessarily just for the donuts or anything else. Like I said, I've gotten some stuff passed down to me, which I'm grateful for. But some of the stuff that I started out with, like making my own waffle mix and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a constant struggle, I think, and it's good for people to hear that, right? I mean, it takes a while to perfect recipes, to get something right, and it's a big investment initially, but like you said, once you get it right, once you have the batch, the following years, you know exactly the procedure, how to train others on how to make a certain like food product or drink. But I'm really glad that you guys have more food options because that's, I mean, you said it earlier, right? You had people lining up before 6 in the morning. So it's good for them to have that option, right? If they want to get a food item instead, or if they just want to also get a food item, then they could have a snack for for work for later on when they get hungry again to get one of those donuts for that. So yeah, I'm glad you guys have those things. Well, I hope one day you can actually also have a gym right next to where you're currently at, because I think it would be so cool to have the gym, to have a place for shakes, all I mean, all in one general area, so people don't have to like go around for both. And you can be able to, just grow in that area where you're at, which I think there's a lot of room for growth in that general area, and it's nice to get more people to go out there and just stay around and on McHenry, because there's so many things to do there, and you also have In Shape across the street. So I mean, I'm sure you get a lot of people that are going to the gym and either going there or after before, but it's a nice spot where you're at. So keep that business the way it is, and get another business there someday. I hope you can make it happen. You might need help, but you did it a lot in 5 years. So I think that over time you'll find a way to get that gym to happen right next door.
Yeah, like I've gone through a lot of growth, and I know I still need a lot of growth. Whether that comes, I think growth, like it's all mental. A lot of it's mental. You gotta be careful who you're surrounding yourself with, and you gotta be
Mhm.
careful with what you're reading and putting into your head. I'm not much of a reader, but I do like to listen to audiobooks. And
Mhm.
when whether I'm on the treadmill or I'm just going on my run, like I tend to zone out a lot, but I do
Yeah.
my best to listen to it over and over, because you don't always understand it the first time. It might take you 7 times, 8 times to actually understand what the book is saying or some sort.
Mhm.
And if you don't have the right circle, it's just a change of environment, and it'll go a long way.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it matters a lot the kind of support you have around you. Um, well, I got one last thing for you. If people want to learn more about the latest drinks or new food products that you have, where can they follow Flight Nutrition at?
So my Instagram is flight_nutrition. On Facebook, it's flight nutrition 209. Um, we do have a link tree there, and I'm always going to be updating the menu there. We do have a loyalty program as well that you can join and receive notifications whenever we.
Mhm.
Pretty soon, I would plan on opening up in the afternoon, so you'll be notified as soon as you join our community that we have when you sign up online. Um, we do have our address. Everything's on my link tree as of right now, and I am working on adding my other socials on. I do want to be more active on my TikTok account that I created for this place. But it's very, like I said, being a an owner, a manager, everything, even like a social media designer, it's very difficult. So that's why I'm taking my time when it comes to that. But yeah, social media, we're flight_nutrition on Instagram, and then flight 209 nutrition, or flight nutrition 209 Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, no, social media is definitely consuming. That's why I had to add more people to my own team, because there's so many things you could do, and it's like there's only like such little time you have to do everything, and especially to do it in the right way, right, where it could be more effective. So sometimes it's better to delay posting something until it's just right, right? So
Of
um,
course.
well, this has been great, Danny. Good luck with the business. I'm really glad that you've been around for like 5 years, and like I said, I'm sure one day we'll see a gym right next to it that'll be a flight gym, and we'll see all these really cool, inspirational like athlete quotes like just around the walls, and maybe also and I think memorable like athlete moments would be really cool.
Of course. Of course.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, thank you so much, and yeah, we'll be stopping by the shop sometime, probably like in the sometime in the next month, and drop you off some stickers, and also try one of the drinks. I really want to try the Space Jam drink because it sounds really good.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we look forward to having serving you here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone else, for being on the podcast tonight. We really appreciate you listening to the podcast or watching whatever way you consume our podcast. As always, one more time, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel, that would be really awesome. Whether you're currently watching there or you're currently listening, we're trying to grow that channel more. And I know we don't have that many subscribers right now, but we are going to be doing more video content on there. But we do want to get more subscribers so we can get the word out whenever new episodes get posted. Also, we are trying to do our premieres on YouTube more in advance, so you know when those happen, so you find out when a new episode premieres. So be on the lookout on our socials at the 209 Journey on Facebook and Instagram. Look at our stories, because that's the way I usually share if there will be a premiere for an episode, so you can find out the link to the YouTube channel, and then you can also hit the notification icon so it notifies you a few minutes before the episode goes live on YouTube and also on the podcast itself. So if you're seeing it on YouTube, it's already on the podcast too. So, well, with that being said, everyone, we hope you have a good morning or good night whenever you're listening or watching.